Once again, hello everyone. It's a great pleasure to see all of you. Today, we're gonna present you the webinar about how you can employ artificial intelligence in your open source intelligence investigation. And let me introduce myself. I am Georgi. I am a product manager of CrimeWall in social links. And together with me, there is Ivan, who is our professional open source intelligence analyst, who will present you some real life cases later on. So everyone's here. I think it's a high time to begin. First of all, who are we? Social Links is one of the leading open source intelligence solutions providers since 2015. And well, we've been historically well known for our leading data gathering and analytics solutions. And some of them are powered with AI, some of them are more traditional, but right now we provide a whole range of products depending on your specific needs or depending on the needs of your company. So first of all, of course, it's a CrimeWall. I'm a product manager of CrimeWall, so I'm a bit biased here. I think it's the best, but it's our all-in-one solution where in one package you get both the data gathering and data analytics tools with very convenient, very UX-friendly software as a service solution. Then there is SL Pro. This is the data gathering and data analysis solutions from Social Links that are provided as a package on the well-known Maltego and i2 analytical platforms. Then there is SL API. This is the product which you would be interested in, given you have your own organization your own platform, and you want to use our API to enrich your own analytical platforms with the data that is gathered on Social Link side. And then the last but not the least is the most advanced, the most the enterprise grade solution, which is a self-private platform, which is the full copy of all our algorithms deployed on your premises or your servers. And yeah, obviously this one would be the most expensive. So what's today's topic? Well, first of all, I'll give a small brief. I'll give a small background on the current state of employing AI in OSINT and what are the problems that we tackle with AI and what are the solutions that we provide. Then I will pass the mic to Ivan, who will give you some real life cases, and he will demonstrate how you can actually use AI to solve real problems and how it's a really convenient solution. And finally, in the very beginning, in the very ending of our meeting, I'll leave some time for question and answers. We'd be happy to answer both the general OSINT questions and the solutions-specific questions as well. So here I have a list of some of the well-known organizations that are united by utilizing the OSINT in their investigation, in solving their problems. And well, we have by now we understand that OSINT is a very powerful tool, but as all other tools, it has its own challenges. To begin with, the OSINT is based on handling a large amount of data, which is acquired from diverse sources. And this volume is so large that it becomes practically impossible to grasp all of it. Then it's also the question of the credibility of the data. Well, here it's a bit more complex, as not only we have a lot of data, but it's sometimes obfuscated, sometimes intentionally, sometimes non-intentionally, and we need to make sure that the data is verified. Then we need to only focus on the relevant information. It's a sub-problem of the large volume, but because of the large volume, you really need to only find the relevant information that directly helps you in your investigation and get rid of the redundant information. Then It's also about the timeliness. Like when you take ages to gather and analyze the available data sets, then by the time you come up with your conclusions, it becomes irrelevant. It becomes unnecessary. And that is why it's also very important to routinize the process of updating and gathering only the timely data. And finally, because we live in a globalized world, it's also important to acknowledge the language barriers that that are always there when you work with the data from abroad, with the content from abroad, which is not in your native language, and this is also a problem sometimes. So obviously, we here present how OSINT can, how AI can help to tackle those OSINT problems. And first of all, obviously, it's automation. Well, the whole process of gathering and analyzing the data is where AI comes really handy. Like the whole concept of machine learning is directly applicable in solving such challenges as the more or less routine processes such as data gathering or automation. With verification, what AI can be really helpful with is automate the cross-checking when you have like different sources of information and you want to several times your repeatable processes of cross verifying information from various sources to detect inconsistencies and hence to leave only the reliable sources. Then also it's about the narrowing down the relevant information. Well, machine learning are really famous for being good at sourcing and filtering the information based on how it's trained to figure out the relevant information. And finally, well, yes, as I've said, you can routinize the process again with AI. It becomes quite easy. And finally, also, well, computer doesn't really care what language he reads in. It thinks in its own language. So with the tools such as natural language processing, the AI can be really helpful in working with the content in other languages as well. Nevertheless, obviously, there are challenges with AI as well. And well, to begin with, it's bias. I think everyone heard about AI having an inherent problem of having bias of the data set which it was trained on. So well, the data sets are prepared by humans, and humans also have their bias when picking the data. But even if we take the absolutely verified data, there will be still some subjectiveness, and it takes a lot of effort from our side to ensure that AI produces fair, unbiased results. Then it's also about the interpretability. One thing is to receive the results, and it's a whole different level of complexity to be able to understand how did you arrive to those results? What do they mean? What conclusions can you make out of it? And that might be challenging as well. Then also the question of data quality, because once again, AI is not a magic pill. It's just an analytical algorithm. And if you have a poor quality of the training of the beginning data, and then you have a poor quality of the input data, then not surprisingly, you'll have a poor quality of the output data as well. Finally, is the problem of overfitting. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but basically when the AI trained on a limited data, then it starts to not make the correct correlational models. Rather, it makes a model that are fitting the training data, and that's obviously not applicable to the wider source of the issues. And well, this was a quick background on using AI in OSINT. And before I'll pass the mic to Ivan, I wanted to highlight that those of you who are here now, who are listening to this webinar, you have an amazing opportunity to try our product, try the crime wall on your own, which I'm particularly proud of. But first of all, you just need to follow the link, which you can now see on the I'm not sure where is it on the screen, but which you see on your screens, which I'm now showing. Also, you can follow the same link in the chat. And then you'll need to sign up there. And you'll have a free trial of CrimeWall. So you'll be able to repeat all the steps that Ivan will show you. Once again, it's a limited offer, but right now you can not only hear and listen what Ivan talks about, but also try it yourself. So once again, I highly recommend you to try to log in and try to set up your account. And right now, Ivan provided the sample email that would be implied in our webinar. So let us know in the comments if you have any questions on how to create your own account and how to start your trial. But I'm pretty sure there shouldn't be any problem with accessing the link and creating your own account. And on this fantastic point, I'm passing the mic to Ivan, who is once again our OSINT specialist who really knows how to do the OSINT analytics. Ivan, the floor is yours.
Yes, Georgie, thank you very much for the intro part. And now we will be going into some live examples, particularly of using the AI features within CrimeWall. We will have less general intro than we do usually. So all of those will be in the context of utilizing such systems and using OSINT methods, but particularly with in an AI-assisted way. So in the first sample, what we are going to do is we're going to utilize facial recognition, for which we would need a face and a name. A face meaning a URL to a photograph of a face. An alternative to a name could be a username. We always need those two factors instead of just a face to make the result more precise. So that is what we have in the properties of this element. So now we start running our searches into the sources which are available. And that is much faster than sifting through all of those options manually. Now, after we get those results, we can then pivot from the newly collected profiles which we have, and we can also proceed to dig into the digital footprint of the individual in question, or a company in question, or a group of people, depending on what is our particular task at hand. Such as what we are seeing here. So we're taking the Twitter profile and extracting just the general details. From Facebook, we're going a little bit deeper. We're going into the groups and the pages liked. Also, since Twitter contains an additional photograph, we'll try facial recognition from that as well to see if perhaps there is something that we have not identified initially. Another result that we get is LinkedIn, and in general, the work with social media platforms would be, of course, quite similar. Now, this is a fairly public person, but in the case, even when we were looking, let's say, at a less public person, and especially if we were starting from less obvious, less conventional, less widespread social media platforms, such as maybe Foursquare, or maybe one of those niche sources such as Duolingo, or maybe from GitHub, the facial recognition feature would be really helpful to us. So this is the first simple example that we have for today of using facial recognition to start working with the digital footprint of a target. And all of this within CrimeWall at the moment. Now, another instance which has been recently covered in a series of posts in LinkedIn by our colleagues is when we are looking at, particularly if we're looking at a public person, but not necessarily, and we're looking at their genuine account, and we want to see whether there are any impersonating accounts. So this would be one of the more obvious examples, of course. And we go into the methods sub-panel, and even on a lower limit, let's try to search into Twitter. Or rather, yeah, let's try to search into other platforms to see how many accounts we would gather. And obviously, this gives us a ton of false positives, and that can be useful for us in the context of mapping the potentially impersonating accounts. Now, in addition to facial recognition, for the features that can be categorized as computer vision, as loud as those words sound, what we have is detection of objects. At this moment, automobiles and firearms. In the future, we plan to add other categories of objects as well. The main use case here would be when the analyst is working, let's say, with a large amount of social media profiles, which in some have a large amount of, in some being summarized, have a large amount of content related to them, and they want to quickly sift through those to see which are potentially more interesting within the context of the task. So now we're launching gun and car detectors. Also an option that we have, coming back to the previous features, that can be useful when we don't have a second verifying factor such as a name or username, is a reverse image search, which is not as precise, and it is not a substitute for facial recognition, but something which can be mutually complementary with it. And also, not intentionally, but showing a very important and very good feature that we added that will be very beneficial to all of our users, which is the automatic merging of duplicates. It works by default when running search methods. And if, for instance, we got duplicates as a result of an extraction, we can launch it, and that will merge the duplicates within the graph. Now, a second set of features which we have that can be categorized, that can be put into the category of AI, are related to natural language processing-based features, also known as NLP. So now that is loading. For time's sake, we're currently working with already pre-made examples. So the more obvious the more widely known use cases for NLP is sentiment analysis, particularly in a government law enforcement context. So that is something that can be useful when the analysts are looking into narratives and into actors related to spreading certain and enforcing certain narratives. But that can also be quite useful within the context of digital profiling. Here, we initially used the hashtag mongrel mob, which is related to a gang that can be called an organized crime group in New Zealand, to extract the tweets containing that particular hashtag, and then from those we can further detect the sentiment, and that can be done as object directed sentiment or general sentiment. General meaning positive, neutral, or negative. Also, for all of this time, we have been in graph view, which is the primary mode of viewing the data within CrimeWall. We have three other modes of representation, two of which are by default present in this section of the UI. The table view and the map view at which we are looking now, which shows us in this particular context the geographical distribution of the Twitter users that are posting content with that particular hashtag. So we see some in New Zealand, but we see surprisingly quite a bit also in other countries from very different regions. Okay, so I see that there. Okay, so no questions at the moment, it seemed. Thank you, George. Now we're going to the next one. Give us a few seconds. And while I am facing my network issues, I will send into the chat a phone number that you can use as a sample for your CrimeWall test searches. Yes, Terry, if you would like to see those specific aspects of functionality, then you can schedule a more individual call with us. We would be glad to talk to you and to discuss how our products can be applied to your use cases. And that will, of course, include the features that you have specified. Thank you for your question. Okay, so not sure what it is, but there are a few other samples open within SL Pro on Maltigo. So SL Pro is another product that which we have had for a much longer time. CrimeWall is a quite recent release, and this is available within either Maltigo or i2 Analyst Notebook, and also a graph-based solution, but without some of the features such as maps, customizable spreadsheets, and content view. Here, we also pivot from a hashtag, only in this instance, we then, from the posts, extract not just the authors, but the reposters. And here we detect not just the general sentiment, but the object-directed sentiment, and also summarize the topics. The next step, after we have gathered this and after we have used NLP to partially process the content, we can apply the conditional formatting within the UI, such as this one, which will sort the elements by the diversity of descent. And that will give us the elements which are potentially more relevant due to, well, that judgment is based on them having a wider spectrum of incoming links than other elements, particularly within this selection. And the same can be done, of course, in other social media platforms and with other content. This is an example within Instagram in English, and this is another example within TikTok in Japanese, where we start from the hashtag bosozoku, which is a word consisting of several kanji. Kanji are Japanese characters for youth biker gangs in Japan. And here we also do the same. Well, mostly the same. We get the post within TikTok related to a certain social phenomenon. And from those, we extract the key topics and the object-directed sentiment, where we will, of course, see where it is negative, where it is positive, and which topics are more important than other ones. And further, it will be already the analyst's job to interpret those results in terms of what they can tell them about the object of the research.
While there is a pause, I'll answer in with voice. Yes, basically the trial version of the crime wall is a full package that is time limited, and during this time you can enjoy all the features that crime wall provides.
Yes, thank you, George.
So
sending to the chats a recent article by the co-founder of Social Links on the topic of AI agents. So that is something out of the scope of OSINT specifically, but something within the scope of the broader topic of artificial intelligence.
I think people didn't receive the article.
Oh, okay then.
I'll double send it.
Yeah, here it is. Thank you.
Just make sure if anyone else has troubles with accessing the product trial, please let us know. Also, you can all write us in the support channel. But I think we've answered to everyone here in the chat. Hopefully, everyone should be okay now.
Okay, so it seems that we will have to conclude our today's event. This was much more brief than usual. We do hope that there was something at least somewhat insightful for you, particularly in case you have not previously utilized AI functionality in your intelligence and investigation processes. If what you have seen has been found at least partially relevant, again, as has been said to one of our guests, we would be more than happy to proceed to a more individual, more private conversation on how our products or our services can be applied to your current work and your tasks. If there are no more questions for today, then thank you all very much, and wishing you a productive and pleasant remainder of the week. Thank you very much for attending today.